Well, greeting friend. I hope you are well today. I'm John Rurkowski with eXp Realty, and I've been helping buyers and sellers since 2001. Time flies when you're having fun. And my goal is simple: to help you make the best informed decisions when it comes to real estate. So today we're going to be talking about what you should really be looking for when you walk into a property. Most buyers notice the granite countertops, etc. And once we have our initial consultation, we're gonna do basically a good question and answer on what exactly that you are looking for, and we will find those homes. I'll suggest that you drive the neighborhood, you drive the street, so you can get a sense of whether or not you really want to see the home in person. So as usual, I always have my notes here because I don't want to miss any important points for you. So here we go. Here are some bullet points that I want you to keep in mind when we go out looking for a home. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the exterior. We're looking at the age of the roof. We're looking at the condition of the roof. We're looking to see if it's stained. Are there branches on it, etc. How are the trees? Are they overhanging the property? Those are all things that are going to come into play for the long-term life expectancy of that roof. Plus, those branches can fall and damage the house, and so we want to avoid some of those things. Not to say that is going to kill that potential transaction, but we're just comparing apples to apples here when we're going to properties, and we want to make sure we're finding the best one for you and your budget. How's the drainage around the home? If it's been raining? If it hasn't been raining, it's very hard to tell. But if it has been, is there puddling waters, in the yard? So those are things we're going to be looking at from the exterior as before we walk in the house. So let's go into the house, okay? What are we looking for? What are we sensing? Odors. Do you smell anything? If you're not a smoker or if you're not a pet lover, those odors are not the easiest things to remove from a property. So we also want to keep attuned to, hey, is there a heavy smell of cleaner in the property? How about air fresheners? What is that cleaning solution or air freshener covering? Okay, we want to make sure we're walking into a home that we're not going to inherit issues from past smoking, pets, etc. Again, very, very difficult to come out to cover. Look up. Number 3, look up. Okay. Look for water stains, ceiling cracks, sagging ceiling, fresh paint in certain specific areas. These can indicate previous leaks or repairs. I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but if you did or did not see that, I'll share this. Sellers must disclose latent defects. What does that mean? A latent defect is something that you cannot see. Okay. If we walk into a home and we see water dripping into a bucket from the ceiling, we know the roof is leaking. The seller does not have to disclose that. But let's say there was a leak in that roof and it was repaired. That must be disclosed because that defect we can't see and it was repaired. Okay, so let's keep that in mind when we walk into a house as well. Number 4, let's look down. So we looked up, now let's look down. Floors can tell a story. Sloping soft spots, loosened tile, buckled flooring, uneven transitions. Have you ever walked into a home and you feel like you're in one of those fun houses that you went to as a kid? The floors were just not right. Another easy indication of settling is crooked doors. Windows that when you see the ledge of the window, it's not parallel to the window. So these are all things that we look at when we're in the house. Drop a golf ball in the middle of the floor and see what happens. I was in a home last week. There was a 4-inch difference from the center of the home to the front left corner. That's a huge difference. Normally, in older homes, there may be some variation with, from the center to the edges, for example, but we're not talking 4 inches, maybe a ½ inch at max. And if there's ever any doubt, there are companies out there that will come out and give you an estimate if there is any settling issues in the property. But sloped floors, crooked doors or windows are key indicators to that happening. Number 5, check the windows and the doors. Do they open and close properly. Okay. This is going to come up on an inspection anyways. And, windows must lock for financial reasons, for insurance purposes. Okay. So we're going to check the doors and windows at all. And also look at the double fogged pane windows. Double pane windows. If they're fogged, that means they've lost their seal. Not that there's anything wrong with the window per se, but obviously it's blocking your view to the outside. So that's an indicator that, it's probably going to have to be replaced. And when we look at a lot of the older homes in Florida and the original windows, you put your hand on it, the heat just comes right through. So they're not energy efficient. And certainly they allow a lot more noise to come in as well. Number 6, in the kitchen. Yes, look at the cabinets. They're beautiful. That's great. But open the doors, open the drawers, look underneath. Are there any leaks under the sink? Take it all in. Don't, if it matches most of your criteria and checks a lot of the boxes, great. Now we're looking at all the things that we want to make decisions based on before we go under contract and have a home inspector just to tell us, hey, you've got this wrong. Okay. So we're trying to avoid that and saving the $500 or so for the home inspection. Because if the windows are, not opening and closing properly, that they don't lock, that's going to be an issue. So do you really want to go through a contract and have a home inspection to tell the seller, say, hey, you got to fix this? And the chances of them saying yes or no are maybe 50-50. So it all depends on the market, days on the market, etc. But that's why we're doing this first walkthrough visual inspection for our own knowledge. Bathrooms, flush the toilets, turn on the faucets, run the shower, look around the tub, any signs of mold, loose tile. Now, these are all things that you're going to be having to inherit when you buy a property that has these types of conditions. The HVAC, heating, ventilating, air conditioning system, right? Huge in Florida. We need it, obviously, especially in the summertime here. Most air conditioners, there's going to have a data plate on them that are readable. Sometimes the older ones that are outside, they get really faded by the sun. You cannot tell the age of them. I can always look on the seller's prop disclosure or public records to see if it was changed recently and permitted. But if not, we're going to look at the data plate and see what the age was. Okay. There's the air handler is usually inside the home somewhere, sometimes in an attic, and the compressor is outside. They should match. Usually they are both replaced at the same time. Once in a while, one of the units might go and the other may stay in the property. So that does happen once in a while. Electrical panel is a huge issue in Florida regarding insurance and making sure that the electrical panel is not only up to date, but there are certain models and manufacturers that are frowned upon by insurance companies. Those are all things we're going to look at as well. So the question with the electrical panel is, has it been updated? And this is especially important for older homes. And number 10, the last point, the neighborhood. That's why I suggest once we find the home, I'm going to ask you, drive the neighborhood. Do you like the street? How close is it to Publix? How close is it to the park, the beach, the golf course? Whatever is important to you. How's the traffic? How's the noise? And don't just drive by on Tuesday afternoon. Go on Friday night. Go on the weekends. Go at different times so that you can get a real good sense of what the neighborhood is like. If you see a neighbor out there, talk to them. How do you like living here? They're going to be the best person to chat with you honestly about it. At a recent property I was at, I saw a neighbor and we decided to cancel the contract because of settling issues. And I said, hey, how long have you lived here? Have you had any settling issues? Do you know what this property was years ago? And he told me, he said, yeah, I had my home pinned. This used to be an old chicken farm, many, many, many years ago. And that land has settled a little bit and the homes that were built on it have settling issues. So it's always not a bad idea to ask a neighbor, hey, how do you like living here, etc. Any pluses and minuses? What can you tell me about the property or the neighborhood? I'm new to the area, etc. And here's a bonus tip. Don't fall in love with the house too soon. Okay. This is a process. Okay. I've worked with a lot of first time home buyers. They walk in and go, oh my God, this is beautiful. Yes, it is. But let's compare apples to apples. And I will be the first to tell you my opinion if you ask for it. Okay. On what I think. I am not going to allow, or at least I'm going to share my opinion on this is a money pit. Here are the major problems you're going to encounter. Let's find a better option for you. Because I want to help you make the best decision for your, long-term real estate livelihood, right? For this home and many, many others to come. Stay objective. A beautiful home can still have issues. And an older home, even though it might have some flaws, may be a better build, right? You just never know. A dated home may simply need cosmetic updates, where new construction, maybe that wasn't built as well, may have some more major issues than the older homes. So remember, no home is perfect. The goal isn't to find the perfect house. It's to understand the condition when we walk in so that you can make a wise and educated decision on the biggest purchase of your life. I'm John Rurkowski. I help families transition to the next chapter in their life. I'd love to help you in any way I can. Oh, one thing I wanted to suggest when we do go out looking for homes, we're going to bring one of these. We're going to bring a flashlight with us. We're going to look, it helps us look under the cabinets or see things that we may not be able to see due to lighting or whatever. So that's a little tip. So put that in your glove box. So when we find those homes and go look for them, we can find those little issues under the sink here and there. If you need me for anything, ask. And if there's something that you'd like to discuss, let me know. I'd love to share your thoughts because I'm sure your question many others have as well. So until we do chat, take care of yourself and each other. Make it a great day. Peace.